Oh yeah, I see. Now I get the reason for all the.
It's okay, Tito.
I know, man, but you put
okay.
these goals to yourself and then you don't reach them, you can kind of get mad.
Hell yeah, it's called failure. Shit ain't easy, man.
It's called failure.
It's called disappointment to your parents.
It's called crushed dreams.
yeah.
I can't believe you're still the sperm that made it, man.
Yeah, me neither, bro. I mean, there was promise at first, bro. I had what they call potential, bro.
Yeah,
That's the only race I ever won, bro.
Yeah, that was the last time you were first.
That's the last time you were first.
That's right. You were first,
last, bro.
Right. On that note, I think we should start. Welcome to Business News and Other Shit, y'all. I am Amer, your host. We are kicking off episode number 56. How the hell did we do that?
Lucky number 56.
That's right. Lucky number 56. That's the voice of Jeff Tack. What's up, Jeff Tack?
How you doing?
Man, I can't believe you are on this episode right now.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, brother. What's great is Jeff and I were connected through a dude named Brian Greenberg who was on this show some time ago. Mm-hmm. And when I called Jeff to find out what's up, Jeff's like, hey, I used to work at Amer. I'm like, what? Like, I used to cover, when I worked at JP Morgan, I used to talk to dudes and do trades with dudes that sat right next to him. So we were constantly like, and I bet you were picking up the phone sometimes when I was calling over there.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. So, I mean, me and Jeff actually been connected for the last 10, 15 years indirectly. And by the looks of you biting your nails, doesn't really interest you, Tito.
He doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
You knew him by proxy, bro.
By proxy. That's right. Which means you're like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Keep moving on.
I'm just playing. Yeah, cool.
I feel
I'm sure you guys all cross paths in the banking industry. There's not a lot of you.
Right. In Chicago, there's not a ton. I will say that. Yeah. But that's the voice of Tito.
What's going on?
Jordasi.
Jordasid. Yeah.
But isn't it also, how would you pronounce it?
Jordasid.
Thank you. And our producer today, John Dolder. What's up, John?
What's up?
JD.
Yeah, I'm here.
Coming back from Ohio.
Yeah. Last week I did a show there out in Akron. So
beautiful Akron.
Yeah, beautiful Akron.
Bright lights.
It sounds like
big city, bigger women.
Big city, bigger women.
Yeah, if you go outside of Chicago or any major city, just everyone kind of blows up. Yeah. Like they ate a blueberry off of Willy Wonka's tree or whatever. Yeah. Like I came back here and I was like, God damn, everyone needs to eat a sandwich.
That's the Midwest, baby.
Mm-hmm. That's right, man.
Mm-hmm.
Beer and steak.
Midwest pride.
Beer and potatoes. Midwest pride.
Yeah.
Midwest people are nice, right? Jeff, are you born and raised Midwest?
Yeah, absolutely.
Illinois?
Michigan.
Ooh, what part of Michigan?
Metro Detroit.
Metro Detroit.
I was just in Dearborn last weekend.
I was in Kalamazoo.
Oh, were you really?
Anywhere near Detroit.
That's nowhere near Detroit.
It's on the way there. It's on the way there.
It is. You drive through it.
Yeah.
We went about 90 miles an hour.
Yeah. We went to Dearborn. My mom wanted to go to Dearborn because it's like Arab American
isn't
capital.
It the most? Yeah.
Most Arab Americans in the U.S.
I think that's right. They have something called the National Arab American Museum. I went and visited there. It was pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
Big?
Nah, medium.
Nothing. I mean, yeah. You're middle of nowhere,
right?
Michigan.
They're exactly. They were kind of like highlighting all the things that great Arab Americans did,
right?
And that like a big thing was like Casey Kasem. Do you guys remember Casey Kasem?
The TV show, the host of the
radio,
thing.
like top 100.
Yeah. Casey Kasem.
I'm Casey Kasem. Yeah. I don't know why that's his voice sounds to me. But that's what we saw.
Arab?
Proud American,
Middle Eastern, proud Lebanese dude.
Oh.
Go figure.
Did not know that.
There you go. That was the one.
Next thing you could tell me Bob Barker is fucking
Middle Eastern.
No, Bob Barker's a white guy from California.
He's Jordanian. You understand?
He's not Jordanian.
Cool. So let's do some plugs. Tito, you're doing some shows in September.
Yeah.
Right? So in September, the entire month of September, where will you be at?
Yeah, every Monday night, the month of September at 10 p.m. at the Playground Theater, I am going to be part of a show called Comedy for a Cause, which will be raising money to donate to, I forget the organization, might be Raíces, but basically they're helping out the immigrant children held in captivity.
Wonderful. That's great work. Okay, so you'll be doing some comedy sets there.
Yep.
Great. Mondays 10 p.m. at the Playground. Bang bang. That's cool.
Bang bang.
Let's get started, y'all. We got a good episode here. Right. There is a lot of drama in the world of business and finance. I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but with so much drama in the LBC, it's kind of hard being Tito double
Tito
D
JC
double G
or whatever. Yeah.
But somehow, some way, we're gonna make it through this. But yeah, lots of drama in business. So the Federal Reserve Bank, which I always harp on saying how interest rates are some of the most important things, if not the most important thing for our economy. The Fed is meeting in a place called Jackson Hole, Wyoming. The G7 is meeting in France. That's like the top 7 countries, all the presidents. That's the one. That's the meeting last year where they had that picture. They kicked Russia out.
Putin out, and they're bringing him back next year.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
Right? It'll be G8 next year.
Well, it's gonna be J7.5.
He's like the high school bully that you kicked out of the party, but then he buys the beer. You're like, you gotta bring it back.
That's cool. I think that's right. He's also probably got some drugs on him, some illicit shit.
Yeah.
Oh, he's bringing all the hookers too.
Russia.
They're the best hookers,
That's right.
So that's happening. That's the meeting last year. I think last year, where Trump was seen in a picture sitting hunched back in his chair with his arms crossed, pouting, and Angela Merkel and all these other people are pointing at him like, "What the hell are you doing?" Do you remember that picture at all?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. So he was. So that's the same meeting they're doing. So we'll see what happens there. And then this morning, Trump dropped one of his Twitter bombs.
Well, that was after China dropped their bomb.
Yeah, so China dropped up. China responded to our tariffs, right?
So what China did is China announced that much like we're putting on tariffs on September 1st, and then it set around on December 15th, they're going tit for tat.
Yep.
So they are circling up $75 billion of U.S. imports, and they are going to tariff them also on September 1st and 15th.
I'm picturing like Chevys. I'm picturing all sorts of American alcohol and whiskey, things like that.
Are these products that we make here and send over there, or products that
the first
we offshore over there, and then
products we make here that we send over there?
But here's the thing: it's not just American companies.
Right.
BMW, one of the biggest exporters of cars produced here in the United States to China.
Oh,
tariffs are going up on all those.
No shit.
That's right. They may be Das Auto. I guess that's Volkswagen.
Yeah,
but the tariffs are hitting them too.
Look at that.
Yeah, but if you could afford a BMW, bro,
you're gonna pay the tariff.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, rich Chinese people probably pay the
let's
tariff.
say they'll throw down.
You never know, though. I mean, some people are stretching and reaching for those BMWs. You know what I'm saying? Trying to feel like they're luxury, so they may buy less of them.
Or just break down and buy a Mercedes.
This guy.
Yeah.
This guy cars.
Skip the BMW, go to the Benz. Although, I got to be honest with you, I think Benz is becoming a shitty luxury car. BMW is where it's at, and Porsche.
I'm all about that Prius, bro. I don't know about y'all. about that gas mileage,
baby.
You're
I'm
rocking
all
the
about
Prius.
that gas mileage, baby.
That's what I'm saying. Those will not be... Actually, there might be tariffs on those. I don't even know. There might be Toyotas coming off the line here in the U.S. that go to...
Yeah, the Toyotas don't move a lot from the U.S. to China.
More Japan?
They're mostly coming out of Japan to
There you
China.
go.
But is there a winner at this tariff thing?
I mean, look.
Like, what's the winning here?
Economists generally say there's no winners in trade wars.
Exactly.
Right? We do have a leg to stand on, which is intellectual property theft.
I was going to say that's what our argument is.
However, I think the way Trump's going about this is just he's sledgehammering the shit out of China with this. And they're Chinese. Like, they don't fuck around. You know
they're
what I
here
mean?
for the long haul, too.
Yeah,
they're not here for the 4 years that we got to do. They're here for 50 or 100.
That's, I think, what's on their mind.
Yep.
Actually, I actually think Trump's doing the right thing. The reason why I say that is at some point in time, you do have to show them.
At some point,
what's up. At some point in time, you got to say what's what.
Yeah.
Because these dudes have been breaking in, stealing our intellectual property.
For sure.
Having forced technology transfers every year. It's like you're literally every Saturday morning the thief shows up at your house, breaks in, takes your shit, and it's like, fix that. I'll be back next week.
Right.
So at some point in time,
you gotta do something. You
gotta be like, I'm getting the guard dog. I'm putting some bars in the windows. This shit's gotta stop.
And Trump's been talking about this for a long time, right? Because at least if that's one thing I'd give it to. He's been talking about the trading with China for a long time. He's been building buildings, buying mass amounts of stuff to build these buildings. So he kind of has a better understanding.
At some level, he's gonna have a good understanding of that. However, here's where I disagree with you, Jeff. I think that there's so many techniques and tools and weapons to use well before all these tariffs and all this global slowdown that we're experiencing. I feel like there's so much more that could have been done along the way, so much more diplomacy, so much more communication, so much more like, all right, here's your options, as opposed to what he's doing, which is like, boom, slapping tariffs, boom, slapping tariffs, boom. And I think they're just like reeling from it. China's like reeling from it. And I mean, there's no deals getting done, and here's the consequences of it.
Well, there's two things you got to understand. First of all, we don't see all the diplomacy that went on before. Because you could have looked at me, it's like, hey, would you mind stopping this? Like, no, we're just taking your shit. And you're like, hey, maybe you could, maybe take less of it. And they're like, no, we're just going to take all your shit.
I mean, we should have seen it. If they're doing true diplomacy, they should put some stakes out there. Like, if you don't fix this shit by this date, here's what's going to happen.
Well, what they're doing is they're using big stick diplomacy. They're hitting upside the head.
Yes, big stick diplomacy.
And saying,
there you go.
Do you want a deal? Now, things people forget is, allegedly, a month and a half ago, China had agreed to a deal with the U.S. They had 158 pages.
I remember.
Which was the deal to get done.
Yep.
And then the day before they were supposed to come to sign, they resent the deal over, missing 58 pages.
I remember that. Yep.
And they were like, and so they looked at us like, I thought we had a deal. And they're like, well, we didn't have that deal.
Yeah.
And so you have to take a step back and realize if you're dealing with somebody who you think you're almost to the finish line, and when you're right there, they're like, oh, we're moving the goalposts. Time to change the game plan. Well, at some point in time, you got to realize maybe this guy ain't really all that honest that I'm dealing with.
I don't. They've been stealing shit for decades. They weren't honest to begin with.
Exactly.
That said, I still think there's so much at stake. I think the trade deficit that we have with China is not an accident. It's not theft. It's not the deficit itself, right? All the shit that goes back and forth is not an accident. I think it's us Americans consuming a lot of stuff and not really saving much money. That's the result of that. And we get so many materials from China. Our manufacturers get so many materials from China that are cheap. We get so much input materials that are so cheap. That is fueling our manufacturing sector. And then to just pull the rug and do big stick diplomacy, I think it just messed with China's head. It's you rattle the dog cage a little bit or the Rottweiler cage. They're not going to respond that well. And it's kind of rattle that Rottweiler's cage a little more gently, in my opinion, and kind of lead some breadcrumbs along the way to get them to operate the way we want them to operate. That's my take.
Yeah, and I think the different approach to that is at some point in time, you just have to say enough's enough. Because the thing you got to remember is we are importing $500 billion of goods from China.
Yes.
We only send them $100 billion.
Yes.
So there is a huge amount of disparity in that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Economists will tell you that is simply about sourcing whatever is cheapest wherever you can get it. It's about countries having most efficient production. So there is absolutely nothing wrong with having a trade deficit. Because what happens is, historically, the United States has run lots of trade deficits with lots of people. They run a trade deficit Canada.
Yep.
They run a trade deficit Mexico. And where that gets made up is what's called the current account deficit.
Okay.
And what happens is, usually we have a current account surplus. And it actually has worked out for Americans over the last 50 years. Because what has happened in America is we buy the goods from other places. But what's interesting is when other countries invest in America, they don't buy equity. They buy bonds. That's why the Chinese have got trillions of dollars of U.S. government bonds.
That's what causes the current account surplus.
Correct.
That's how we benefit.
That's how we benefit.
Yeah, that's great because we borrow all this money from China at really low rates.
That's right. But it gets better than this. When we Americans invest in other countries, we don't buy their bonds. We buy their equity.
Yes, we do. By the way, we didn't even give Jeff Tack any kind of introduction for listeners. Jeff is, in my opinion, in Chicago, one of the top fixed income dudes out there. Now, in your heyday, you were doing it for some huge banks and huge hedge fund managers. Now you're doing it for yourself.
That's correct.
Right. So Jeff's former role was at ABN AMRO.
Mm-hmm.
Right, kind of for the Chicago, it would have been the LaSalle Bank.
That would be the name brand here in Chicago is LaSalle.
The name brand would have been LaSalle.
Correct.
And then you were at a couple of hedge funds thereafter.
That's right.
Credit Agricole, Crestline.
Correct.
Those are the two.
Yes.
And in both cases, in all three cases, the man's moving billions of dollars around, overseeing huge multi-billion-dollar portfolios. So we're dealing with a dude who's extremely comfortable with huge numbers. Which, not gonna lie, when I did trades like that, I'd be shitting my pants at JP Morgan, like, oh shit, am I going to this up? So the fact that you're doing it left and right, I give you props for that.
Just picking up the phone. It's like ordering a pizza.
I want to order a $5 billion pizza, bro. Where that at,
man.
yo?
It comes
I'll
with
go 18 months in jail.
You think Domino's has the bling pizza?
It comes with diamonds, baby. Makes your doodle sparkle.
Sparkle. You shitting out diamonds. All right, so I'm sorry. So you were saying current account surplus is how we actually benefit. Do you think Trump gets that?
No, Trump doesn't get that.
What does he get?
Okay, here's the thing.
Because that's a super important thing. He thinks the deficit is a theft. And it's like, nah, dude, we need the deficit. It's good. And I don't think he sees the current account surplus part, which you're talking about.
Well, here's the thing. You have to understand. Trump is in office. He is paid to lead, not read. He's got other people to do the reading for him.
Okay.
So he's just saying, I think we should do this. And he's got a Twitter fight every single day. But here's something. The thing is, regardless of what the guy's saying, and he lies every day, and he has no idea what he's talking about. But the fact is, he's got some smart people around him who do know what they're talking about.
Okay.
But what I was simply saying is about this before. We as Americans, we've invested throughout the world. We own equities everywhere. And the nice part is, while China and everybody else is buying our bonds and earning next to nothing, we buy their equities and we're making a fortune.
Okay, can you tell me what equities is?
Oh, we're buying so they buy
companies.
They lend us. They buy our bonds. They're lending America money.
Yeah, right.
All right, and that's how they make. They make 1%, 2%, 3% because we pay them on that. But then what we do with all our money, we don't buy their bonds. We don't lend them cash.
No.
We're actually buying their companies and having ownership in some of their companies.
Individually or government?
Individually, typically.
Correct.
Right.
And so what happens is we, Americans, profit as these companies expand. Americans have made billions and billions of dollars on Chinese companies like Alibaba. And we're just not paying that much in interest versus what we're making from that. So it's one of those things where there's lots of different nuances to this. But what it comes down to is at some point in time, you got to say is enough enough. Now, if you want to do some serious deep state conspiracy, and Trump loves the deep state.
Yep.
The fact is, China has several problems. First problem China has a demographics problem. What's that mean? Well, China had a one-child policy for like 30 years. And that's just one child for the poor. The rich people get as many kids they want.
Right.
Oh, is that right? I didn't know that.
Pay, I think.
Yeah, you just pay some money to the government. Sure. You can have like 12 kids.
Damn.
But if you're poor, one kid.
Damn.
So what they would do? So what's happening here is China, in about 20 years, is going to have lots of old people who are retired not doing shit.
Like Japan.
Just like Japan.
Right.
And they're not going to have any young kids.
Right.
Demographics problem. So they can't grow.
They're going to have mostly dudes.
And they're gonna be mostly dudes.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
I would not want to go to
45%.
I would not want to be at that party.
Nah, bro. Nah. I mean, I'm slick, so I'd be like, hell yeah.
What does that mean? I don't even know. I'm slick, so I'll be like, hell, meaning you go both ways or something?
No. I mean, like, I'll take three of them. I'll take 3 of the ladies and leave like all the dudes mad as hell.
3 of the ladies and 9 of the men.
Yeah.
Wait. All right. So hold up. So what you're saying is, at some level, okay. I think what you're saying is this: as Japan started getting really old demographically, there were less people to work. Their GDP suffered.
Correct.
Because they couldn't keep growing because there's like not enough people jumping into the workforce. Look, are you saying the same thing could happen with China?
Actually, the same thing's happening all over the world.
All over the world. I would agree with that.
So what's happening?
You're seeing it in Germany, you're seeing it in Italy, Europe, all over, right?
Europe has a big problem. China has a big problem too. Yeah. The only place that actually doesn't have a big problem is the United States of America.
Well, we're trying to put up a fence. We need to stop those people from coming in so we can lower our growth. Well, none of this shit makes sense to me.
It makes no sense. But the thing is, for if you look at all the positive immigration in the United States in the last 20 years, we don't have a demographic problem the rest of the world does.
Wow.
So what this means is that China is going to enter a point where they just got too many old folks and not enough young folks making shit. And
did you guys get all that, Tito?
This is why the robots are going to be a thing.
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
that's no matter what. But like what you're saying is like, so here, the important thing to understand is an economy can keep growing and making money.
As long as the population
As long as the population is growing.
Yeah.
Right? Because if people start dying and just less people, like you can't make as much shit. So what you're saying is like the whole globe is having less growth of human beings in some weird way, at least demographically, age-wise.
Well, the growth is hitting a lot of developed countries.
Right.
Because what happens is once you get a lot of shit, you stop having kids because you don't need the free labor no more.
Yep.
Okay. Once you're rich, the kids are a luxury. You're like, I don't want that. When you're poor, you got to have a lot of kids.
You need that.
Because they got to grow this food on the farm. They got to take care when you get old. That's the difference.
It's crazy.
So China China put the one-child policy in because they thought they had too many people. Well, the problem they're going to run into is they're not going to have enough people to support the old folks.
Right.
But here's where the other problem comes with China. China is a country built on debt. It's built on shadow banking. It is built on borrowed money. It is built on the idea that they were going to keep having enough growth going on that they could service all that debt.
Is that right? They have a lot of debt.
They have more debt than us.
They got a bubble coming, apparently. Like a real estate bubble.
Well, a lot of people.
Lots of bubbles. Probably a real estate bubble.
Look, there's some dudes who've been trying to say this has been happening for like 20 years. Because people always forget shit goes on for a lot longer than you think it can. Because you can wallpaper over stuff for a very long time. Right. But you get to a point, which is what I think this trade war is really about, which is basically slowing growth in China to the point that it flips. Because remember, that's what happened with Japan back in 88. Because when I was growing up, and I'm a little older than you dudes, the things that I knew for sure back then, because I was taught this in college, is Japan was taking over the world.
Right.
We're all going to have to learn to speak Japanese, and we're all going to have to learn to bow to our lords and masters of Japan. Because that's what's happened. They bought the Rockefeller Center in 1988. What people forget is the Rockefellers bought it back a few years later for half the price. Because that's how we roll. So if you look at what's happening in China, what do people tell us? China is taking over the world.
Right. Same shit.
We're all going to have to learn to speak Chinese.
Right.
And we're going to have to learn about our lords and masters in China. I have seen this movie before. It's a sequel, and it won't be as good as the first.
Man, what if you're wrong? That would suck, and the Chinese take over.
That documentary just came out.
Which one?
The one on Netflix. It's called Factory. That's where they follow these American workers who now work for Chinese companies here in the States.
Oh,
and they
like
follow
Foxconn?
They follow both the Chinese leaders and then the American workers and try to tell you both stories. It was produced by the Obamas.
That's pretty cool. I want to see that.
Yeah, it just came out on Netflix. It looks really crazy, but like the Chinese owners of these companies are like, Americans are lazy, bro.
So you're saying, yeah, right, I feel that. So you're saying that China's built on debt. That is a house of cards in many ways. If shit hits the fan, that debt has, obviously, chickens come home to roost at some point.
Well, what happens is debt is not a problem. A lot of people think debt is just bad. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Good debt is the debt you borrow to produce more stuff. You want to build a factory, you borrow some money.
That's good debt.
That's good debt. Bad debt is when you just borrow money from your future self so you can buy some more bling for your current self.
Ooh.
That's bad debt. Because in the future, you're not going to have more money.
I love my wife, though.
To pay off the future debt, but you do love your wife.
Yeah.
So you look at China. The question is how much good debt is in China, which is building factories, producing shit.
I'm sure there's a lot of that.
And there's a lot of that. But how much bad debt is there in China, too?
They like bling. The Chinese like bling.
Yeah. There's a billion of them. Right, so how many people we really talking about? We're talking about like 13.
I mean, even if like 13 million, million like bling, that's a lot of bling.
That's true. That is true.
And by the way, with the demographic situation, how you're saying like when you're really poor, you want to have a lot of kids, and when you're really rich, like developed countries, you end up having no kids. This makes me wonder, all the poor people in the comedy community, like, why aren't they all having lots of kids?
Because we're in America, bro. Kids are expensive. No matter what.
I guess no matter what.
No matter what.
I mean, but if you think about this, if the comedians have a lot of kids, they can have all those kids help them write jokes.
Get out of here.
No.
Yeah.
Take time to train. All right, fine.
Nah, I don't think people want to have kids anymore. I think we're too selfish, bro. I think our ideals are changing. So
for sure,
right now everybody's in the me culture.
For sure. You don't have any kids yet?
Nah, not legally.
I got 2. Dolder, you got any kids?
No.
No.
Jeff, do you have kids?
No.
No kids. Man, so we really are in America.
Yeah.
Welcome to America. Yeah. All right. So let's keep going with this, right? Trump drops his Twitter. We didn't even say what Trump's Twitter bomb is. So China says we're going to do
75 billion tariffs.
75 billion tariffs, just like America on the same dates as America.
Correct.
All right, so they're responding. And Trump drops a Twitter bomb in response, basically saying, go to hell, China. Well,
actually, he was in front of that. He actually looked at American companies and said, you should reconsider doing business in China.
So he basically he told American companies, make plans to start doing business outside of China.
That's right.
Damn.
Now, he didn't order anybody out of China, but he threatened it. Because what he is doing...
he can't technically order anyone out of China.
Not really. He lost for that. And he done that. He lost on his side.
Can you imagine that shit? Get out of China. Everyone get out of China.
This is almost like a terrible TV show.
I wonder where he gets the ideas from.
Yeah, right? Yeah, he's just like, hey, you guys should get out of China. Or what? You don't want to know. We're like, what are you talking about, bro?
The dude knows drama.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really know the inroads of all of these things. I know about the intellectual property and whatnot, but we have a relationship that was established with China for a long time now, and we're rocking the boat. And
That's right.
And like you said, there's no winner in this trade war. So like, what's the overall goal here? What's the outcome that they want? And
what does it look like? It looks like China saying, "Fine, we will stop. We will put laws in place where we stop stealing your blueprints for your technology."
Correct.
And something tells me the Chinese ain't going to do that very easily.
No. Well, here's the thing you got to remember: the allegation is Chinese theft is worth $400 to $500 billion a year to them.
Yeah, in benefit to them, right?
So if you think about that, the full amount of trade, so all the goods we buy from them, they are getting as much stealing our stuff.
Yeah.
So if you are making that much cheddar, why are you getting out of the business?
You're saying if who's making that? If China's making that much cheddar,
why quit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why quit?
Yeah.
Why stop stealing?
Exactly.
Yeah, they have
Apple
no reason
stores full of Apple stuff, and none of it's from Apple.
Oh, you mean it's all from China?
Yeah, I've been to Beijing, man.
Oh, you have?
That was mind blowing. Yeah. That was mind blowing.
And wait, are you saying it's Apple products?
Yeah, like Apple products.
Are they fake Apple products?
Yeah, absolutely.
No shit.
Yeah, they knock off everything.
Damn.
They knock off all of it. So you imagine you're Apple, bro.
Yeah, you don't like that.
You're losing mad cheddar, and they're literally stealing the software, the hardware.
Damn.
Yeah.
That said, Apple's still one of the, if not the wealthiest company in the world.
I guess to Amazon at this point.
Maybe second. Damn. All right, so Trump says, hey, American companies, make plans to move your production out of China. I don't know where they're going to go. Vietnam, I guess?
Say where.
Actually, Vietnam's booming. A lot of South.
But you can't. Well, they're booming because it's a fight to the bottom, isn't it? I mean, once you prop the workers in China, make them somewhat middle class, they're going to want more money for their time, and then they just go to the next cheapest country. Right?
Oh, you're saying the Chinese will actually move to Vietnam?
No, I'm saying he's just saying. Then you go to the next poorest guy and be like, "Hey, will you work for less?"
Oh, right.
And the guy's like, "Yeah."
Oh, I got you. Race to the bottom.
So,
but Vietnam can't handle. We do so much in China. You can't just move $500 billion of goods to Vietnam.
No.
They might be able to do like 5 or 10% of what China was doing.
You move to Vietnam. You move to Thailand. You move to Indonesia. You move all over. You put some stuff over in India.
That's going to take a few decades, at least 2 decades, to rebuild all that stuff for sure, right?
Oh, it takes time. You know, you're not just going to you just can't walk into a field in India and be like, factory.
So Trump's basically trying to strangle China here. He's like, we're done with you.
What he's simply saying is, you want to play ball with us, here are the rules to live by. If you don't want to live by those rules, that's fine. We'll just take our ball and go home.
We are going to shrink.
No, we're not.
Our economic... We rely so much on China, like so much.
No, okay. So here's the thing: U.S. economy, $23 trillion.
Yes.
China, $13 trillion.
Yes.
In the U.S., if you think about the $500 billion we export per year from China,
import,
yes, that's about 3.5%. It's not that much.
But isn't it like? I think about it differently. I think more of it as like a spider web or something. Like it has bigger ramifications, or like you drop a pebble in an ocean and there's bigger waves. So 500 billion could impact. A lot of those are input materials, so it's going to impact the cost or the price of so many other goods. No.
Well, a lot of it is things that we go when we hit the shelves and we see made in China,
right?
And we buy that,
right?
And so a lot of that is that. There are other things like people want to talk about stuff like rare earths. Rare earths are kind of a joke because you can find rare earths everywhere.
Oh, is that right?
That is everywhere.
Oh, okay.
So everybody's like...
That goes in cell phones, right?
Yeah. So everyone's like, China's going to cut off the rare earths.
Right.
And people are like, well, we just mine it over there. We got a huge mine in Arizona.
I didn't know that.
We just don't mine in Arizona because it's expensive. Because we got environmental regulations and things like that. Right. So you got to play by the rules. China, not so much.
I see. Okay. What rules, right? All right, so the Dow Jones doesn't like this news.
Not
right?
at all.
Today's stocks are down 600 points. We're taping here on Friday. Then Trump comes out and says, I don't know who's a bigger enemy, President Xi Jinping or Fed President Jay Powell. Because Jay Powell, the Fed president, came out and basically suggested like, yo, we just did a recalibration. I don't know how much more room we got to lower interest rates. And Trump did not like that shit at all. He's basically like, yo, lower interest rates right now, right away, all the way to zero.
Well, what he simply responded to is what's going on over in Europe. So right now in Europe, there are $15 trillion of bonds, negative yields. So what's that mean? That means when you borrow money from somebody, Okay? When you finally pay them back, you pay them back less than what you borrowed from them.
Hey.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine?
I'll take that deal.
Can you imagine giving Germany, let's say you gave Germany $1,000. All right. And it's for like, you want to lend them money for a bond, a government bond. And they gave you back after 2 years. After 2 years.
Like $800.
They give you like $800 or $900
I'd be asking everybody for money.
If you're government. If you're the government, right?
Yeah.
How do people agree to that shit?
Well, they agree to that shit because of the rules. So what goes on in Europe is if you actually try and put your money in a bank, they get to fee you so much because of the negative interest rates that you would rather give the money to the government and lose money than give it to the bank and lose more money.
Oh, wow.
Because of all the fees and negative interest that they are charging on deposit accounts. You put your money in a bank, you have the reverse savings account. You put your money. That's right. You put your money in. The bank keeps some of it and gives you less back.
Damn.
That's how you save money.
That's the opposite of savings. That's like, I don't know what is the opposite of savings. I guess that's
whatever
spendings.
I do every day.
See, the problem is you are spending it. Yeah, you are spending on the honeys. Yeah, you in Europe, you don't even get any honey for it. Damn. You just lose your money.
These investors should just take $200 of the dollars every $1,000 and just get some honeys, get some European honeys.
I think this isn't this all kind of just correcting itself? This is all market correcting itself in a weird meta way, right?
Jeff's the expert, man. I don't know.
Right? Isn't that? I feel like this is all gonna, like you saying, there's a ripple, everything's interconnected. But if ultimately, we'll pay more for stuff, but that'll have a ripple effect where things should correct themselves. Because wasn't China manipulating currency? And there's like allegedly, and there's a lot of things that are going that are kind of shady that I think should be corrected, and I see the silver lining in it. I mean, I'd like to.
Well, what happens is we put the tariffs on, and China cuts their rates for their currency. So what all that means is that the goods coming from China to the U.S., the price doesn't move as much as the tariff would say, but what kills it is American goods going to China. Because what happens is American goods not only get so much more expensive because of the currency, they get so much more expensive because of the tariffs on top of that. So we're seeing Chinese imports come into the U.S. that are only like 3 or 4% more expensive, but the stuff that we're trying to sell there is 30, 40, 50% more expensive. So nobody, even if we could send the goods to China, they're not going to pay for it, right? Because it costs so much more.
Right. So, I mean, at some level, yes, the markets are trying to correct themselves. They're trying to, quote unquote, clear, find some kind of ground clearing, ground zero, you know? But I just think that there's so much political gaming going on that they can't really authentically clear. They're trying their best, but it keeps getting all and messed up, you know?
It's going to end up bad.
But
I mean, go ahead. What do you say?
No. Here's the thing. I don't think it's going to end up. We can talk about what bad is because a lot of people went through the Great Recession, and media really wants to talk people into an recession right now. That's a different story.
Yeah, you're saying the media is harping on recession so much so that maybe they're going to try and talk the market into a recession.
That way they can hurt Trump during the next election.
Boom! Doesn't get reelected.
Exactly. Yeah, look, the media is loving to harp on this because it's true with all media. Look, if it bleeds, it leads. If you're in Chicago, you turn on TV, the first 15 minutes is who got shot. Well, CNBC does not cover shootings. What they cover is market shootings. So they turn on TV, and the first 15 minutes is what got shot.
Right.
If they can talk about the markets getting shot, well, that gets people excited and turns into late night news specials about what's going on in markets, which is more ratings and more dollars.
Boom.
It's all about the Benjamins.
That's exactly how I think when I'm putting together this show. I'm like, all right, what's bleeding right now? I need me to get another 100 listeners.
Well, you got to be a smart viewer of these things. There's not a lot of us.
No.
But you're right. When I see this stuff on the news, I'm like, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Right. I think everyone feels that way many times, man.
And, you know, I think at the end of the day, there's certain things that need to be done to restructure the way that we all do business. This affects everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, no matter what. I just want to make sure that whatever we're doing is not going to put like the next 20 years in the U.S. like in a black cloud where
Jeff doesn't seem to think so.
People
but
are
I don't know,
bread
man.
lines and you know, like that's. I mean, obviously we're in America. We're not gonna have bread lines. I don't think.
What's red lines?
Bread
lines.
Bread
Yeah.
He's going old school back to the Great Depression.
You never know, man.
You never know, boss.
So G7 meeting is the last thing that's happening. So the Fed was happening also in Jackson Hole. Trump didn't like Jay Powell. He's just smacking him upside the head. He's using big stick diplomacy with him as well. And then the G7 meeting is happening in France with all these presidents coming together. I don't know what's going to happen with that shit, especially with Brexit. But there's just so much drama in this LBC, y'all. I'm telling you, there's lots going on.
Everybody just needs to smoke a little weed and sit down for a second, right? Like if all the world leaders just got in a room and you just like microdose them with some LSD or got them all high,
Put a little in the water.
I think we can get out of this like curing cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like this will get out fine. Bro.
Stocks are down 600 points. That's okay.
No big deal.
All right, let's move on. So what do we? I mean, what do we do with all that? Is the question, right? Like what's the the recommendation? So my first thought is always like number one, always keep investing in equity markets. Everything that this country believes in is equity. Like you were saying earlier, Jeff, we love to invest in equity. And so as stuff goes down, you want to have a regular investment schedule in all of that. That's my belief. That's my recommendation. Try and have 20% of your income at all times getting invested in the market. Now, if shit really hits the fan, you want to be like Jeff Tack, super slick, and start putting even more cash to work. So if all of this is the perfect storm coming together, and we really are vulnerable for a major recession, this is where the men get separated from the boys. And you got to be ready to put some more money down.
Look, things people have to remember is if you look at the United States last 40 years, the only president where the stock market was down when he left office was George Bush. Everybody else, second.
Okay. 2008 recession.
That's right. That was the only time anybody who didn't buy the stock market at the beginning of the president's term didn't have more money at the end of it.
Is that right?
That's right.
Damn. All the other presidents
made money.
Probably going back to Kennedy, Nixon, Ford.
Yeah.
They all made money.
Right after Jimmy Carter. So Reagan,
Jimmy
you made
Carter,
money.
got you.
George Bush 1, you made money. Bill Clinton, you made money.
Yep.
Dot-com boom. George Bush, you got the boom, you got the dot-com bust, and you got the Great Recession. You had two for you there.
Damn.
Obama, stock market went up. Trump, stock market went up.
There you go.
So, and if you look historically, stock market has never been lower 7 years after you put money to work.
Yes, I've seen that.
So,
and on average, every 7 years, it doubles.
Well, okay.
On average.
It does. It depends on what time period you want to use. Mm-hmm. So there's some people that have the belief that it doubles every 7 years, and it's been true for a long time, ever since we discovered what leverage was back in the 80s. But there are also some ugly periods in the 70s where stock market didn't go that far for a long time.
Right.
There's that time period in the 30s that wasn't so great.
Yeah, the Great Depression.
Exactly.
But isn't it true if you kept it in before, during, and after,
always made money.
It doubles in every 7 years on average. That's what my research showed. That's what I think I found.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's my thing is and would you agree with that? Keep investing, especially when you see these downturns. Keep investing, and if you see a big downturn, don't run away.
Look,
this is where the men get separated from the boys.
People gotta understand: markets go up, markets go down. You don't want to get panic about it. If you look historically, stock market goes down, peak to trough drawdowns 5% 3 times a year. That is just stuff like today going on, getting people panicking, bunch of guys moving money around. Selling the stock market down, those are the times when you want to buy the dips.
Yes.
If you look at the S&P 500, S&P 500 goes down on average 10% once a year. Like I was saying before, when it goes down 10%, it doesn't go down every year 10%. What happens is a lot of years it doesn't go down, and then pretty much every other year it goes down 10% 2 times.
Right.
And occasionally, like what happened in the fourth quarter last year, it goes down 20%. And what you want to do is if you want to be an investor, you are not trying to time the trade. It's what you talked about, which is dollar cost averaging, putting money to work consistently, and looking for opportunities to put more money to work when it's cheap.
This is America. This is where you can make money while you're sleeping.
That's right.
Keep it in those markets. So that's my take on that. Let's move to quickly to David Koch of Koch Industries. I'll say this. May he rest in peace. Always respect the dead. But damn, a lot of people are happy that this dude is dead.
He gone.
This dude gone.
Dead.
Super libertarian, right? This guy is kind of like who really got libertarianism onto the map. And
he was a vice president candidate in the 88.
That's right. It was 88? Is that what it was? Or 80?
Yeah, he was running some libertarian ticket, which got 0% of the vote.
0%. There you go. 0%. Except he's the 0.1%. So this dude was worth $40+ billion. His brother's worth $50 billion.
Dang,
real together.
Money.
These dudes are worth over $100 billion. Koch Industries, They make. Have you heard of Koch Industries?
Not the ones you probably referring to. I know another $100 billion Koch industry. I'm very familiar with.
Say hello to my little Frank.
Hey, we all got to make money somehow.
Yeah, even Tony Montana. This dude is not Tony Montana. These dudes are all about energy and paper products. That's a lot of what they do.
Energy, paper products. They also prepare a lot of meatpacking.
Meatpacking, is that right?
What it is, they are a big middle American employer, petrochemicals.
Yeah, just little things.
Huge diversified business.
All sorts of different things.
All private, by the way. Can't buy any shares.
Yeah, no public.
They kept all the money for themselves. They're not sharing with anybody.
Boys.
Smart dudes. That's
Smart
right.
boys.
These dudes, like, like the paper products I saw that they own are like Angel Soft, that's one of their brands. Brawny, Stainmaster, that's one of their chemicals that they create. So they kind of do all that kind of stuff, plus wood, a lot of lumber, and then all these other petrochemical things.
Every time you go to the Jewel, you're paying them.
Yep, we buying them.
I don't go to Jewel, baby.
Where do you go?
I go to the corner store.
The bodega.
Yeah, that or Aldi. Yeah,
something tells me that Koch Industries are an Aldi too.
You think so?
For sure.
I thought they were German.
They are, but they probably got to pick up some American products, no?
Sure.
So this dude passed. Now, why does everyone hate this dude? So this guy is all about smaller government, less taxes. Everyone hates this dude because they feel like they ruined the world. They destroyed the environment. They got a bad environment reputation.
Because the voice of 50 million people could be drowned out by one dude with a big ass wallet.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And that's the shit we don't like.
So this dude kind of like, I think what I understood about the Koch brothers, and maybe you know more than me, Jeff, but what I understood was, and this is what pissed me off too. I don't like the way our government's set up. Basically, you can bribe our government. Lobbying, in my opinion, is bribing our government. And so whoever's got the most cash can go and basically give senators or congressmen that money, or presidents, and get them to vote a certain way.
Yep.
If I'm that senator, I'm taking that cash and I'm voting that way too. That's just how our government's set up. It's bullshit. I don't like it. That's how these dudes do it.
Yeah, but this is America, baby. This where money talks.
That's right. Money but they really took that to another level. The Koch brothers, they really stepped into Washington and took that to another level. Is what I understood.
Yep.
So David Koch, may you rest in peace. Jeff, what do you think of that?
Look, this is no different with the people on the right, because they were on the right,
far right, yeah.
But not as far right as you think. Because if you look at David Koch was all about.
He was pro gay marriage.
He was pro gay marriage.
Yeah, they want less government policy.
He was pro-choice. He was pro-abortion.
Yeah.
So when people talk about him being on the right, what they don't like is a lot of his small government policies.
Yeah.
A lot of his balanced budget.
Don't tax the rich. Yep.
Don't tax the rich. Let people keep their money. That's what people are really upset about. But if you think about what people usually call left and right, he's actually very much a libertarian. He wasn't an evangelical or something.
Yeah, no, he wasn't that, right?
So, a lot of people didn't like it because him and his brother put a lot of money into politics.
Yep.
They made it rain for a lot of politicians. Yep. And people get really upset when that's going on. But it's one of those things where everybody's doing it.
Yeah, that's how our government's set up.
People on the right, people on the left.
Yep.
And the best part, what's all going on, which people spend so little time focusing on, is as much as people get upset about these laws and pro-choice and pro-life and things like that, where the real money is the tax code. So you say
IRS.
The IRS. So here's the nice thing I know about it. The tax code is so big that God would have to write a sequel to the Bible.
Damn.
Just do it again. Better this time.
That's how big the tax code is.
To get to the tax code. So when you're in Sunday school,
I don't understand that analogy. You're saying the tax code is so big, it's almost like bigger than the Bible, you're saying?
No, it's twice the size of the Bible.
Twice the size of the Bible, the tax code. And you're saying God would have to write a sequel
to the Bible just to make it as big as the tax code.
Just to make it, okay, got you.
So what people forget when they actually take a step back and think about this is everybody talks about taxes. People get all cringy. They don't want to talk about taxes. They want to pay taxes. They don't like it. They kind of do it and they run away from it, or they just do it on TurboTax. What's happening is that is where the rich are living. That is what the rich are working on. Because the thing is, you get all these guys. It's always fun when you get these guys on TV. You get the Bill Gates, the Warren Buffetts. They're like, I want to tax the rich more.
Yeah.
Well, they don't.
Lately, Ray Dalio.
Well, here's the thing. Even Ray Dalio. They actually could care less how much you push the tax rate up. Because in the tax code are all the loopholes.
Right.
All the ways they don't pay taxes.
Right.
So you can raise the rate on those guys. They're still not paying taxes. You got all these hedge fund managers with their carried interest benefit. These hedge fund managers are making tons of money. They're only paying 15% in taxes.
Right.
So when people talk about, for people who are working, if you're just a guy bringing home a paycheck, 8% of your money is FICA taxes. You got state income tax, another 5%. You got another 20, 30% in federal taxes.
Right.
These hedge fund managers, they're just taking 15%.
They're done.
So not only are they in a universe where they're making more money, they're keeping more of it from the government legally.
Right.
I mean, you remember a couple of weeks ago when Amazon got into trouble. Amazon, major corporation, $1 trillion market value, hundreds of billions of dollars in sales, didn't pay U.S. taxes.
Damn, it's crazy. 0%.
Fucking
How
ninjas,
is that?
Bro.
Right?
They're absolutely ninjas.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. I feel like he leaves.
Only an alien can pull that shit off.
He leaves like a meeting with a smoke bomb. Just disappears. And then you just see a helicopter in the back. You're like, what the fuck? Yeah.
He just gone and he took his money with him.
Yeah, of course, bro. These guys don't want to give their money up. Listen, I have $400 in my account. I don't want anybody to touch that shit. You know what I'm saying? If imagine it was $40 billion, I feel the same.
Right.
I feel the same. Be like, what about your common man? Fuck that
motherfucker. You feel even more about the $40 billion. That's what bugs me, man, about... anyway, I mean, I can go on for that a long time. That's what bugs me about the Koch thing is like, I felt like they really took the whole, bringing money into politics to a whole nother level back in the 80s.
Hey, they just turned up to 11.
What's that?
They just turned it up to 11.
Yeah, they turned up to 11. And so you're right. And so the Democrats did it too. They turned up to 11. And now we got this shit. We got this, government that I feel like just bribe away. Who's the next person to bribe?
We just need somebody to come in and say that you can't just do that. It should be a way to regulate it and get rid of the CPACs or whatever.
Yeah. What? The packs.
Yeah.
Packs,
you can give it unlimited amount of money.
I feel like a CPAC is something like you put on your face at night to breathe better.
Yeah. That's what I put on my face.
CPAC.
No, I don't know, man. I think that we live in a world where we've chosen money as our god. At least in this country. Yeah, to try to get money out of politics would be idiotic.
I completely agree. I have this thing in Arabic. So you guys know in Arabic, the saying Allahu Akbar basically means God is greater. And it means that God is greater than everything. Sure. God is greater than fame, than money, than women, whatever. But I'm like, in America, it's not Allahu Akbar. It's Dollar-hu Akbar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's basically what it
I'll
comes
buy that
down
T-shirt, bro.
Let's make it. Dollar-hu Akbar.
Put that on your podcast, yo.
Dollar Akbar. Let's move on. Last story is Overstock.com. I used to buy a lot of shit from Overstock. I'm not going to lie. Because, man, I'm such a value guy. Man, I love value things. Like, I love deals. Like the open box items at Best Buy that no one wants to buy.
You're there.
One man's trash is Amer Abdullah's treasure.
I've never shopped in Overstock.
Oh, for real?
Not a single time. Have you?
I
have not shopped Overstock either.
Like, I've shopped at like two places, Amazon and eBay. That's it.
Oh, yeah. No, I used to love Overstock. Now, lately I haven't. When I was younger, when I was super, super value oriented, man. Yo, I'm so cheap sometimes when I was younger. I used to go into those like 90% off. You ever see those 90% off banners?
Sure.
Like going out of business stores?
Yeah.
I buy everything in there and I'd be like at the end, I'm like, yo, throw in that banner too. I'll take that shit too,
Put that in your kid's nursery.
90% off. Take my kids. Selling them on eBay.
Yeah.
So man, I used to love Overstock. And so this dude Pat Byrne is the CEO of Overstock. He comes out with a press release after he talked to Warren Buffett. He says that he got advice from Warren Buffett, and this is what Warren Buffett recommended he do.
Are you sure it wasn't Jimmy Buffett?
Yeah, right.
Yo, I'm sure he said it was Warren. I just don't think he knows it was Jimmy. I think
it might have been Jimmy.
I think it was Jimmy. Patrick Byrne. This dude has been up to some weird theories the last couple of decades. He's been the CEO for 20 years. All right, so this dude puts out a press release saying, yo, I had a romantic relationship with Maria Butina, the Russian spy that has gone to jail for 18 months for some of her espionage shit for Russia. And in his press release, he referenced Deep State and Men in Black.
Bro.
Come on. This is Patrick Byrne. And so
did Warren Buffett himself come out and say, yeah, I advised him?
Hell no. You think Warren Buffett must be looking at this shit shaking his head right now.
Bro, he's like, dude, lay off the acid before the press release.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and I dropped that.
I think that has a lot to do with like that Trump effect, bro. Like you can now manipulate media and like change narratives and like muddy the waters in,
I think
in
that's
a
part
lot
of
of ways. And
I think there's other thing, man. I think when it comes to like white billionaires, no offense against white people, just white billionaires, I'm gonna stereotype. I just think they're easily manipulated, man.
Think so?
I think so. Like I think you start drinking your Kool-Aid too much, and like Maria Butina comes by, and then you start hooking up with her. And then you talk to Jimmy Buffett about some shit. And next thing you know, you're out of business. He had to resign. This guy had, after he put this press release out, his board made him resign. And their stock is down like 25%.
Look, when the dude's crazy and he's writing crazy shit and posting it everywhere. I mean, it's like a manifesto.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody who ever put out a manifesto, you're like, hey, that was pretty sane. That made sense to me.
Martin Luther's, that changed the world.
Yeah, that was about 600 years ago.
Jerry Maguire. Good luck, Pat Byrne. God bless you.
I mean, if at the end of the day, I feel like this is all planned in a way. Like, all right, your stock dropped. Did you know it was going to drop? Yeah. Did you like buy some push option or whatever? Like, they're all making money off this crazy shit somehow. They know how these things work.
I'm not going to lie. After Trump's Twitter bomb this morning, and after all those other Twitter bombs that kept moving the markets last week and the week before, I'm starting to think like, yo, does Trump tell like Ivanka and his son-in-law Jared and some of his boys like, yo, I'm gonna drop another one of these Twitter diarrhea bombs. You should sell the market. Like I'm not putting it past Donald Trump at this point with all the shit he does and says. They could be totally manipulating the market with some of these Twitter things.
I think he's smarter than people.
Hell yeah, he ain't adult. He's in the White House.
A master media manipulator. He is probably, and I think in the next year or so, maybe more, he's going to be the perfect case study in every public relations 101 class in college.
Maybe you're right.
Dude, he is brilliant. He is like a modern day, what's the
maestro? He's a PR maestro.
Yeah. In that sense. I don't think he knows it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He has charisma.
He's got charisma. He's got 53 million followers on Twitter. Damn. One tweet, the Dow goes down.
Yeah. Okay, but how many of those 53 million are real?
Let's say 15.
I mean, they're going through all the big Instagram people and Twitter people and looking at how many of their followers are actually real. And it's like a third.
Yeah.
It's like, I got 15 million followers. It's like one dude with a computer.
Yeah.
So if it's a third of 53, what is that? 17, 18 million.
Yep.
All right, so that's still a big number.
It's a big number.
17 million human beings following this.
6% of America.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian can't move the markets.
There you go. It's got to move the Dow 600 points, man. That's trillions of dollars. And he knows it now. And the dude, he can do whatever he wants.
It gives him more power in his mind.
Jeff, we can edit this out if you want, but be honest. Be honest. Do you think he's intentionally moving the markets?
Actually, no. I actually don't think he's intentionally moving the markets.
Why don't you think so? I'm going to call you out on this.
Okay, because here's the thing. What this dude needs is he needs the stock market up come next November.
Yep.
He needs everybody having a job, everybody having a new car, and the stock market up. So when people go to the polls,
they vote him in.
Look at that lever and go, oh, man, he's a bigot. Oh, man, he's a racist. Oh, man, he's a jerk. I hate what he says, but damn, I'm rich. Pull that lever.
I mean,
that's the problem with Americans.
What?
that exact thinking, bro. I mean, he ain't wrong.
That's about money. Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, Allahu Akbar, for sure, bro. Forget the common man. Forget the common good, bro. It's just all about you and your money, your 401k. All right, take that to the grave, bitch.
For real.
See what you can do with that.
I mean, I don't know, man. I think he could be also hedging his bets. Like, all right, if I don't get elected, at least I made an extra $1 trillion. Well, I guess not trillion. Probably like, 50 billion.
Yeah, and leave the world off, worst off. Right? Like, I don't know. What's the cost of it? What's the real cost of this? I don't know. That's a good question. Farmers is losing mad jobs right now.
Who is?
The farmers.
Oh, yeah.
They're
soybeans,
because of the soy, because of all of it.
Yeah.
And the common guy is right now the one feeling the brunt of it.
Yeah.
While some dude's taking his shit, tweeting, and trying to figure out, how to win an election. It's almost like he's never going to be affected by any of this.
But here's the thing. Like I said, so you talk about dudes being affected by it. Yeah, if you're a farmer, you're definitely getting hit by this. Yeah. You're also getting $16 billion in federal aid to kind of tide you over while it's going on. But seriously.
Jeff, you, me, Dolder, Tito, we're all paying for those farmer subsidies, right?
Makes them welfare recipients now.
Technically, they come from the tariffs we're putting on the tax. The taxes, tariffs we're putting on China.
They can cover all of it?
Yeah, right now they can.
Okay.
But here's the thing you got to think about also. You got to think about this morning when you hit the bodega, Tito, and you went and buy something, did any of your purchases change because of the tariffs?
No.
And the thing is, for a lot of people, when they walk in the store and they're looking at what they're going to buy,
everything's the same.
Everything's the same price.
Yeah, so far. So far.
So people are not really feeling this yet.
Yeah.
Right.
December 15th, that could change.
That could change. But right now, what happens is people got jobs. They're coming home. They're bringing home the bacon. So they're happy. And that's going to be the real ugliness. Look, there's all sorts of craziness about this election that's going to go on in the next 12 months.
Man, it's already crazy.
Yeah, bro.
You got no idea who Democrats are going to pick to run against him.
Yang.
You got no idea what the economy is going to look like. You got no idea what kind of mad shit he's going to say in the next 12 months. Because you think you do, you don't. It's just going to be crazy. Damn. And what it's going to come down to is so many people, they vote their pocketbooks.
Yep.
Yeah. And there's also lots of people who look at all the surveys like Donald Trump's losing. Remember all the surveys said Donald Trump was losing and Hillary Clinton was busy planning her inauguration and whoops, what the hell happened there?
Trump won. Was going to lose, bro.
Did you vote for her?
Nah, I didn't vote.
That's why she lost.
Yeah, I mean, I was in Europe. It doesn't matter if I vote, bro. Not that it doesn't. Let me just be
Illinois.
I was gonna say I live in the bluest of blue counties. Yeah, I live in Cook County, bro.
Right.
I was like, yeah, if I was in like middle of nowhere, Ohio, or somewhere in Pennsylvania,
right,
then I guess it felt, yeah. But like, I was unmotivated to vote.
I feel you.